8 hidden signs she secretly likes you. Spot these. Psychology tricks. Love is composed of a single soul inhabiting two bodies. Aristotle. That line matters here because real attraction is rarely loud, obvious, or easy to read at first. Most men have been trained to look for exaggerated signals when a woman likes them. Big smiles, constant texting, playful performance, obvious pursuit. But that mindset causes them to miss what is often far more real. A woman with depth, self-control, and emotional intelligence usually does not reveal her interest in a careless way. In many cases, the more she feels, the more carefully she manages her reactions, not because she is playing games, but because she is protecting her heart while quietly deciding whether you are truly steady, grounded, and worth trusting. Attraction is not always a switch that flips in plain sight. More often, it builds slowly beneath the surface, and when that happens, subtle signs begin to slip through. Small changes in body language, unusual nervousness, unexpected clumsiness, sharp memory for tiny details, and reactions that seem minor until you understand what they really mean. That is where most men get lost. They misread politeness as desire, silence as rejection, and surface behavior as the whole story, never realizing a deeper psychological conversation may already be unfolding underneath. This content is about seeing past the obvious and learning to recognize 8 hidden signs that she secretly likes you, even when she does not fully realize she is showing them. It is for the man who has walked away from an interaction feeling something meaningful but not knowing whether it was mutual. It is for the man who wants more than shallow tricks and empty dating advice. Because once you understand these quieter signals, dating stops feeling random and starts making sense. You become more observant, more calm, more accurate, and more connected to what is actually happening in the room. This is not about manipulation. It is about awareness. It is about developing the kind of masculine presence that can notice what others overlook, read energy without forcing it, and build genuine connection with clarity instead of confusion. And that is exactly why this conversation matters. 1. Let's look at the vulnerability test. Let's slow this down and see it clearly, because most men miss it completely. One of the most powerful psychology tricks in attraction is what I call the vulnerability test. And if you don't understand it, you will unknowingly push away a woman who is actually starting to like you. Imagine this. The conversation is flowing. Everything feels easy, light, controlled. Both of you are playing it safe. Then suddenly she shifts, just slightly, and reveals something imperfect. Maybe she admits she felt insecure at work. Maybe she shares a small mistake. Maybe she exposes a habit she usually hides. And right there, in that subtle moment, she is no longer performing. She is inviting. And most men fail because they panic. They rush to fix it. They deflect with humor. They say, "Don't worry about it," and immediately drag the conversation back to safety. But don't do that. Don't escape the moment, because that is the moment. That is where female psychology begins to reveal itself. Understand this deeply. She is not asking you to solve her problem. She is measuring your emotional stability. She is quietly asking, can this man handle reality, or does he need everything to stay comfortable? And if you brush it off, you signal that you are not ready for depth, that you prefer surface-level connection, that you cannot hold space for something real. And that is when attraction quietly weakens. But if you stay, if you remain calm, if you listen without rushing, if you acknowledge without overreacting, you pass the test without even trying. And this is how to fall in love, not through performance, not through perfect lines, but through presence, through emotional steadiness, through the ability to stand firm when things become slightly uncomfortable. Think about it. People do not reveal their insecurities to those they don't care about. They don't open small cracks of truth to strangers. They do it selectively, intentionally, and when she does it with you, she is offering trust in its earliest form, fragile but real. And your reaction will determine whether that trust grows or disappears. This is why high-quality women, the kind who understand themselves, who are tired of pretending all day, are drawn to men who don't flinch when reality shows up, because they crave a space where they can finally relax, where they don't have to be perfect, where they don't have to filter every word. And when you become that space, you become unforgettable. Notice also how she watches you when she shares something vulnerable. Her eyes are not casual anymore. They are searching, measuring, reading your reaction. And this is not random. This is female psychology in motion. She is investing emotionally. She cares about how you see her. And care is the foundation of attraction. Not excitement, not charm, but care. So when that moment comes, don't interrupt it. Don't dilute it. Lean into it, hold eye contact, stay grounded, and respond simply. Something like, I respect you for sharing that, or that takes honesty to admit, because that shows strength, that shows awareness, that shows you are not afraid of depth. And in that moment, something shifts inside her, something locks in, because now you are no longer just another conversation. You are a man who can handle reality, a man who doesn't need everything to be perfect to feel comfortable, and that is rare. Remember, attraction is not built on perfection. It is built on emotional safety. And emotional safety comes from consistency, calmness, and presence, not from trying too hard, not from saying more, but from reacting better. This is one of those quiet psychology tricks that changes everything, because once you understand it, you stop chasing approval, you stop trying to impress, and you start creating connection naturally. And that is exactly how to fall in love in a way that is real, grounded, and lasting, not forced, not rushed, but built on something deeper than surface level attraction. 2. The proximity shift. It is what I call the proximity shift. And if you understand this one signal, you begin to see attraction not as something loud and obvious, but as something quiet, controlled, and deeply revealing. While the first sign was about emotional vulnerability, this one is about physical territory, about space, distance, and the invisible lines people draw around themselves. You see, every person walks through life with an unseen boundary, a personal bubble that protects their comfort and control. With most people, almost everyone, that bubble stays firm. We keep our distance. We angle our bodies away. We leave space to escape if needed. That is normal. That is safety. But when a woman feels a genuine pull toward you, something changes beneath the surface. Her subconscious begins to soften that boundary, slowly, subtly, almost like a door opening 1 inch at a time. Notice her alignment. Don't get distracted by the obvious signs most men chase. Don't obsess over smiles or eye contact alone. Be sharper than that. Look at her feet. Look at her torso. These don't lie. In a crowded room, at a table, or even standing side by side, ask yourself, is she facing you directly? Is she squared up, stomach to stomach? This is what psychology calls fronting, and it is one of the clearest signals of interest you will ever see. When she turns her full body toward you, she is not just being polite, she is opening herself. She is exposing vulnerability. She is saying without words, I am here with you. I choose this moment. I choose you. That is not casual. That is intentional energy. And a high-value man recognizes this without needing validation. But the proximity shift does not stop at alignment. It deepens. It becomes magnetic. Watch closely. Be present. She will begin to close the gap in ways that feel almost accidental, but they are not. Maybe she leans in just a little more than necessary when you speak. Maybe she places her drink near yours, her phone next to yours, quietly blending your spaces into one shared zone. That is not coincidence. That is subconscious merging. Or she finds small reasons to step into your orbit, passing close enough for her arm to brush yours, standing just a bit nearer than what friendship requires. Don't ignore this. Don't dismiss it. This is her testing the energy between you. This is her asking, without asking, how does it feel to be close to him? And if you carry grounded masculine energy, she will feel it instantly. Now here is what most men completely miss. The moment that separates the unaware from the aware, the reactive from the composed. If she enters your space and stays there, even after the reason is gone, she is not lingering by accident. She is waiting for you to notice, waiting for you to respond, Not with words, not with nervous movement, but with presence. You must not rush. Don't panic. Don't break the moment by trying too hard. A high-value man does not chase proximity. He allows it. He holds it. He becomes the calm center that she feels safe stepping into. That is how you attract women without force, without pressure, by being steady when others would become uncertain. Think about your natural instincts. When someone you don't trust gets too close, your body reacts immediately. You tense up, you lean away, you create distance. That is the fight or flight response doing its job. But when a woman likes you, your presence does the opposite to her. Your closeness feels safe. It feels calming. It feels like something she doesn't need to escape from. And here is the test you must learn to recognize. If you move slightly closer and she does not pull back, if she holds her ground or even closes the remaining space herself, you are no longer just another man in the room. You have become someone she is comfortable claiming space with, physically and emotionally. Do not ruin this moment by overthinking. Don't jump too fast. Don't feel like you need to make a move immediately. That is where most men lose control. Instead, be still. Be grounded. Let the tension exist. Let it breathe. Let her feel that you are completely comfortable in that shared space. Because that is rare. That is powerful. A man who can stand in close proximity to a woman without becoming restless, without seeking approval, without trying to prove anything, is a man who naturally signals confidence, status, and emotional depth. That is masculine energy at its finest. Quiet, controlled, unshaken. You must understand this clearly. Attraction is not always loud. It is often silent. It lives in inches, not miles. It lives in the subtle closing of space, in the quiet decision to stay close when she could step away. And when you learn to read that, when you learn to respond with calm instead of urgency, you step into a different category of man entirely. You become the kind of man who does not chase signals, he understands them. The kind of man who does not force connection, he allows it to unfold. That is how a high-value man moves. That is how you truly attract women. And if you truly understand this, don't stay silent. Prove it to yourself. Drop this in the comments right now. I don't chase energy. I become the center of it. Like the video, subscribe for more sharp psychological insight, and remember, attraction isn't in what she says, it's in how close she chooses to stand. 3. The memory recall. I call it the memory recall, and if you don't understand this signal, you will miss one of the clearest signs of genuine attraction right in front of you. Have you ever been in a conversation with a woman you've only met once or twice, and suddenly she brings up a tiny, almost forgettable detail you mentioned weeks ago? Maybe the name of your first pet, the exact coffee you prefer, or a random comment about a project at work, and you brush it off thinking, she just has a good memory. But that is not what's happening, not even close. That is a surface-level explanation for something much deeper. Because in today's world, we are drowning in information, constant noise, endless distractions, what experts call attention poverty, and the human brain is forced to filter out nearly everything just to function. We forget names, we forget conversations, we forget entire days, but we never forget what we truly value. We never forget what emotionally captures our attention, and this is where old Stoic wisdom becomes powerful, because as Marcus Aurelius once said, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts, meaning what stays in the mind reveals what holds importance. So when a woman remembers the smallest details about you, understand this clearly. She is not just listening, she is investing. She is not hearing you, she is studying you. She is building a mental model of who you are, piece by piece, detail by detail. And that only happens when there is genuine interest, when there is curiosity, when there is emotional engagement. That is the signal. That is the psychology. And you must not ignore it. Because while most men are trying to impress with big gestures, expensive dinners, or flashy displays, they completely overlook the most valuable currency in human connection, attention. And as Epictetus taught, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. Yet in modern dating, almost no one truly listens, which is why this sign stands out so powerfully. Because when a woman recalls something small about you, it means she wasn't waiting for her turn to speak. She wasn't distracted. She wasn't scanning her phone or thinking about her schedule. She was present, deeply present. And presence is rare. Presence is valuable. Presence is attraction. And here is the deeper layer you must understand. She didn't just remember in the moment, she remembered over time, which means she revisited that information. She replayed your words in her mind, maybe while driving, maybe while getting ready in the morning, maybe in quiet moments before sleep. You entered her mental space and you stayed there. And that is not casual interest. That is emotional investment. That is what Stoicism teaches at its core, to recognize value not in noise, but in subtle patterns, not in loud signals, but in quiet consistency. And if you have an iron mind, you will not react with surprise or neediness. You will recognize it. You will stay composed. You will use it. Because this is your moment to deepen the connection, not by chasing, not by over-talking, but by acknowledging with calm authority. You pause. You hold eye contact. You give a slight knowing smile. And you say, I'm impressed, and most people wouldn't catch that. Well, you're a very good listener, aren't you? And then you stop. You let it land. You let the silence do the work, because that moment does two things at once. It rewards her attention, which makes her want to invest even more, and it shows her that you are aware, not just of her, but of the dynamic itself. And that level of awareness is rare. That level of presence is attractive, because now you are no longer just a man being observed, you are a man who understands the game without playing it desperately. You are steady. You are grounded. You are in control of yourself. And that is where old Stoic wisdom aligns perfectly with modern attraction. You don't chase attention. You recognize it. You don't beg for interest. You respond to it. You don't lose yourself in emotion. You observe it. And as Seneca said, he who is brave is free. And in this context, freedom means you are not controlled by the outcome. You are not shaken by uncertainty. You are not reacting impulsively. You are choosing your response with intention. And that is what separates the average man from the one who naturally attracts. Because when you operate with an iron mind, when you apply Stoicism principles, when you embody old Stoic wisdom, you begin to see these signals clearly. You begin to understand that attraction is not built in grand moments. It is built in quiet details, repeated attention, subtle investment, and consistent presence. So don't overlook the small things. Don't dismiss them. Don't rush past them, because in those small moments, she is telling you something without saying it directly. She is showing you that you matter, that you stayed in her mind, that you became part of her internal world. And if you are paying attention, if you are disciplined, if you are grounded, you will recognize that this is not luck. This is not coincidence. This is connection being built in real time. And your job is simple. Don't overreact. Don't overcomplicate. Just see it, acknowledge it, and continue to lead the interaction with calm, steady confidence. Because that is how you turn attention into attraction, and attraction into something lasting. 4. The protective gate. What you're witnessing here is what I call the protective gate. And if you truly want to understand attraction, not the surface level noise, but the deep current of female psychology, you must train yourself to see what is invisible to most men, because people are constantly, silently arranging their environment to match how safe or unsafe they feel. And when a woman feels even a slight sense of tension, social, emotional, or physical, she builds subtle barriers, small shields that say, "This is my space," whether it's her purse placed between you, her drink held high like armor, or her arms folded across her chest. These are not random habits. They are psychological signals. They are quiet psychology tricks rooted in instinct. But the moment genuine attraction begins to form, something shifts, something softens, and that gate starts to open without her even realizing it. And this is where most men fail, because they are too busy performing, too focused on what to say next, too distracted to observe what is actually happening right in front of them. Because when she slides her bag away, when she clears the space between you, when her body opens instead of closes, she is not just adjusting objects. She is removing resistance. She is creating a direct path. and that is female psychology in motion. That is how to fall in love at the subconscious level, not through words, but through energy and comfort. And you must understand this clearly. Don't rush. Don't interrupt the moment. Don't mistake openness for urgency. Because the weak move is to force, but the powerful move is to remain steady, to expand your presence calmly into the space she has invited you into. Because as Carl Jung once said, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. And in the same way, everything she reveals unconsciously is a mirror of how she feels around you. So be the man who notices, be the man who understands, be the man who doesn't need to chase signals because he reads them with clarity. And look deeper, not just at the table, but at her body language. Because if she lowers her drink instead of holding it defensively near her chest, if she tilts her head and exposes her neck, if she touches her necklace or relaxes her posture, these are not accidents. These are ancient signals of trust, vulnerability, and openness. This is how to fall in love expressed without words. And this is where your discipline matters most. Because many men see the gate open and panic. They try to impress. They try to escalate. They break the very tension that was working in their favor. But you must not do that. You must stay grounded. You must stay calm. You must let the moment breathe. Because attraction grows in space, not pressure. And when you understand these psychology tricks, when you truly grasp female psychology, you realize something powerful. You don't need to force connection. You don't need clever lines. You don't need to manipulate outcomes because she is already showing you the path. She is already clearing the obstacles. She is already inviting you in. And your only job is to be aware enough to see it and centered enough to respect it. And this is where transformation begins. Because once you start recognizing these subtle shifts, you begin replaying past interactions in your mind. You begin seeing what you missed. You begin understanding that women have always been communicating with you, not through loud signals, but through quiet behaviors, through energy, through positioning, through subconscious choices. And don't let that realization discourage you. Let it sharpen you. Because awareness is power. Awareness is growth. Awareness is how you step into a higher level of connection. And if you've ever noticed even one of these signs in your life, then you are already evolving. You are no longer blind. You are becoming intentional. And that is rare because most men stay stuck reacting instead of observing, chasing, instead of understanding. But you are different now. You are learning how to fall in love the right way, not by forcing emotion, but by recognizing it, not by controlling outcomes, but by aligning with them. And remember this truth as you move forward. Attraction is not one-sided. It is a shared experience. It is a dance. And if you want her to open, you must be the kind of man who feels safe to open too. Because no woman reveals her vulnerability to chaos. She reveals it to calm. She reveals it to certainty. She reveals it to presence. So audit yourself. Refine yourself. Strengthen your awareness. Because the deeper you understand these psychology tricks and the nuances of female psychology, the less you will need to chase anything at all. And that is the moment you step into real power, quiet power, the kind that doesn't demand attention, but naturally attracts it. You've just seen what most men spend years missing, the silent signals, the unspoken yes, the moment she lowers her guard without even realizing it. So don't just watch this, act on it. If this opened your eyes, hit like, subscribe, and step into the kind of awareness that changes everything. And right now, drop this in the comments to lock it in your mind. I notice what others ignore, and I move with calm, not force. If that line resonates with you, you're already ahead of the crowd. Stay sharp, stay grounded, more is coming. 5. The social guard. Sign number 5 is what I call the social guard. And if you understand this one, you begin to see attraction not as words, but as quiet, strategic behavior. Watch closely, not just how she acts with you, but how she shifts when the environment changes. When other people enter the space, especially other women, that is where the truth reveals itself. Because attraction doesn't disappear under pressure. It sharpens. If she genuinely feels drawn to you, she will begin to subconsciously claim the connection. Not loudly, not dramatically, but precisely. She might take a half step closer when another woman walks by. She might angle her body toward you, even while the conversation includes others. She might increase eye contact, not randomly, but intentionally, as if to say, without speaking, "My focus is here." That is not insecurity. That is alignment. That is a woman choosing where her attention and her presence belongs. Understand this clearly. Don't confuse this with jealousy. Don't misread it as possession. It is neither. It is selection. It is her signaling in a socially intelligent way that she has placed you in a different category than everyone else in the room. And when a woman does that, she is not thinking casually. She is responding to something she feels is worth anchoring to. That is where your role as a high-value man becomes critical. Because a woman will only create that subtle bond around a man whose presence feels grounded, calm, and certain. Now pay attention to the contrast. If she treats you exactly the same as everyone else, same tone, same distance, same level of engagement, then don't overthink it. Don't create fantasies where there are none. She is being polite. She is being socially graceful. And that is fine. But that is not attraction. Attraction creates distinction. Attraction bends behavior. It shifts priorities in small but undeniable ways. A woman who is interested will often create what feels like a bubble around the two of you. Conversations become slightly more private, even in public. Her attention locks in more deeply. Interruptions from others feel unwelcome, even if she remains outwardly polite. That bubble is not accidental. It is built moment by moment, and once you feel it, you cannot unsee it. This is where most men make a critical mistake. They either ignore the signal completely or they react to it in a way that breaks the dynamic. Don't rush. Don't suddenly become performative. Don't try to secure her attention with forced charm or unnecessary words. Be still. Be present. That is what reinforces the connection. A man who understands masculine energy knows that attraction grows in space, not pressure. Remember this, you don't chase alignment, you recognize it. If she is subtly positioning herself closer to you, match her energy calmly. If she is giving you more focused attention, receive it without overreacting. That is how you attract women at a higher level, not by forcing interest, but by recognizing and respecting it when it appears. There's a quiet confidence in a high-value man that makes this entire process effortless. He doesn't need to compete for attention in a crowded room. He doesn't feel threatened when others enter the space, because he understands something deeper. If a woman has chosen his orbit, even subtly, it is because his presence already stands out, and presence cannot be faked. It is built through self-control, clarity, and emotional steadiness. So watch her when the room changes. That is your test. Anyone can seem engaged when it's just the two of you. But when distractions appear, when social dynamics shift, that's when real interest reveals itself. Does she drift away, or does she anchor closer? Does her attention scatter, or does it sharpen toward you? That is the difference between politeness and genuine attraction. And here is your instruction. Be the man who notices without needing validation. Be the man who remains grounded while others react. That is masculine energy in its purest form. It does not chase attention, it attracts it. It does not demand recognition, it naturally receives it. Because in the end, attraction is not about what is said, it is about what is chosen, again and again, in small, quiet moments that most people never learn to see. 6. The physiological pupil dilation. Sign number 6 is what I call physiological pupil dilation. And if you understand this one signal, you move from guessing to knowing, from chasing to observing, because this is rooted not in opinion, but in biology, in that ancient part of the brain that does not lie. As Charles Darwin once observed, the very essence of instinct is that it's followed independently of reason, and that is exactly what you are witnessing here, a reaction that cannot be faked or forced. Because when a woman looks at something she genuinely wants, a beautiful sunset, a rich experience, or a man she feels drawn to, Her pupils naturally expand to take in more of that moment, more of that person, more of that feeling, and yet most men miss it completely because they are distracted. They look at the surface, the outfit, the smile, the obvious signals, while ignoring the quiet truth happening right in front of them. Don't be that man. Don't chase noise. Be still. Be present. Develop what old Stoic wisdom teaches: calm observation, emotional control, and awareness of subtle reality. Because a man with an iron mind does not react quickly, he studies, he watches, he understands. And when you hold steady, relaxed eye contact, not intense, not needy, just grounded, you will begin to see the shift. Her eyes will soften, they will widen slightly, and in that moment, she is no longer evaluating, she is experiencing. She is no longer calculating, she is feeling. And that is where attraction lives. Understand this clearly. Sharp and narrow eyes signal analysis, distance, caution, but soft and open eyes signal comfort, curiosity, and connection. And that difference is everything. That difference is the line between interest and indifference. And in modern life, where people are overwhelmed by distractions, phones, and constant stimulation, this signal becomes even more powerful because it cuts through all the noise. It is raw. It is immediate. It is real. As Marcus Aurelius taught, you have power over your mind, not outside events. So stop trying to control her reactions and instead master your own presence. Because when you embody that grounded masculine energy, when you stand calm, composed, and aware, you create the space for these natural signals to appear. You don't force attraction, you allow it to reveal itself. This is the essence of Stoicism win. This is how a man separates himself from the crowd, not by doing more, but by seeing more, by understanding more, by remaining steady when others are restless. And you must train yourself to notice these details in real time, in conversations, in silence, in those brief moments of eye contact that most people overlook. Because success in relationships, just like success in life, belongs to the observant, to the patient, to the disciplined. Repeat that to yourself. The observant win, the patient win, the disciplined win, that is Stoicism win. And when you combine this awareness with an iron mind, you no longer second guess, you no longer overthink. You read reality as it is, not as you fear it to be. And that is power, quiet power, lasting power, the kind of power that doesn't need validation, the kind of power that naturally attracts. So the next time you are with a woman, don't rush, don't perform, don't seek approval. Slow down. Look into her eyes with calm confidence and watch. Because the truth is already there, written in the smallest details, waiting for the man who is still enough to see it. If you understand this, you stop guessing and start observing. You stop chasing signals and start reading truth. Most men look, but they never see. Don't be most men. Be still, be present, hold eye contact. That is where attraction reveals itself without a word. As Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, people do not seem to realize that their opinion of the world is also a confession of character. What you notice defines who you become. Now act. If you're ready to see what others miss and step into that calm, masculine awareness, drop this in the comments. I see beyond the surface. 7. The grooming leak. Sign number 7 is what I call the grooming leak. And if you understand this, you begin to see beyond surface behavior into the deeper layers of female psychology. Watch her hands closely. Don't ignore the small details. Does she touch her hair, adjust her necklace, smooth her dress, or subtly fix something that wasn't even out of place? That is not random. That is not meaningless. That is instinct speaking. In the world of psychology, tricks, and attraction dynamics, this behavior is known as pining, a subconscious urge to present the best possible version of herself in front of someone who matters. She is not just talking to you, she is responding to you. She is reacting to your presence, your energy, your attention. Be aware of the timing. It matters. If she starts grooming herself right after you say something thoughtful, something grounded, or offer a sincere compliment, that is your confirmation. That is her internal system saying, this man's opinion matters. I want to look right in his eyes. This is how to fall in love begins, not with words, but with subtle, unconscious alignment. Most men miss this completely. They dismiss it. They say, she's just fidgeting. No, don't be that man. Be the one who sees patterns. Be the one who understands female psychology at a deeper level. Because when you combine this sign with others, her social attention toward you, the dilation in her eyes, the way she positions herself, you begin to see a clear picture forming. She is opening up, slowly, naturally, without saying a word. And here is where most men make a critical mistake. They call it out. They break the moment. Don't do that. Don't say, "Why are you fixing your hair?" Don't expose the process. That destroys the tension. That is not confidence. That is clumsy awareness. Instead, stay calm. Stay grounded. Give her a slow, subtle nod. Let your body language say, "I see you and I'm comfortable." That is power. That is presence. When you remain steady while she experiences these subconscious signals, you become something rare, an emotional anchor. And in female psychology, an anchor is irresistible. You are no longer chasing attention. You are holding space. You are not reacting. You are allowing. That is how to fall in love unfolds naturally, without force, without pressure. Remember this, attraction is not built through words alone. It is built through awareness, restraint, and understanding the unspoken. Master these psychology tricks, study the patterns, respect the signals, and above all, don't rush the moment. Be the man who sees without needing to prove he sees. Because when you do that, she feels safe to continue. She feels drawn to come closer, like the tide to the shore. And you remain steady, unshaken, certain. 8. What I call future casting. It is what I call future casting, and if you miss this, you miss everything. Attraction for a woman is never just about the present moment. It is about projection, imagination, and emotional investment in what could be. While most men stay trapped in the now, focused on the next joke, the next drink, the next clever line, a woman who feels something real begins to quietly place you into her future. That is the shift. That is the signal. And you must learn to hear it. Listen carefully to her words, because language never lies. When she says we, she is no longer standing alone. She is mentally placing you beside her. We should try that new restaurant. We would have fun there. Don't brush past that. Don't underestimate it. That is not casual talk. That is her mind building a bridge from today into tomorrow and inviting you to walk across it. A high-value man recognizes this instantly. He doesn't get distracted. He doesn't laugh it off. He understands that this is how you attract women, not with noise, but with awareness, presence, and grounded masculine energy. Think about it. Most people speak in uncertainty. Maybe, sometime, I'll see. But when she says we about something that hasn't even happened yet, she is revealing comfort, trust, and a quiet assumption that you will still be there. That is powerful. That is rare. That is not something she offers to every man. She is not just enjoying your company, she is evaluating your place in her life. She is asking herself, without saying it out loud, can this man exist in my future? And when a woman begins to ask that question, you are no longer competing for attention, you are being considered for something deeper. This is where masculine energy matters. Not loud, not forced, calm, certain, steady. Be that man. But understand this, future casting is not always obvious. Sometimes it's subtle. She might mention an event months away and pause, watching your reaction. She might ask your opinion about something far ahead, something that doesn't concern you yet. That pause is not accidental. That question is not random. She is giving you access, a seat at the table of her life, and you must respond like a man who belongs there. Don't hesitate. Don't shrink. But also, don't rush. Don't become overeager. Don't start building castles in the sky. That will break the moment. That will signal instability. A high-value man stays centered. So when you hear it, when she says we, meet her there, calmly, smoothly, confidently. Mirror it back. Yeah, that sounds like something we'd enjoy. Simple. controlled, certain. That is how you align with her energy without losing yourself. That is how you show masculine energy without forcing it. You are not chasing the moment, you are matching it. And in doing so, you subtly communicate, I see where this is going and I am capable of walking that path. This is how you attract women on a deeper level, not through tricks, but through awareness and emotional discipline. Because here's the truth most men never realize. When a woman future casts with you, the dynamic has already changed. You are no longer just a man in front of her. You are becoming a man inside her mind, inside her story. And once you enter that space, everything shifts. The attraction becomes steadier, warmer, more intentional. It stops being a spark and starts becoming a slow-burning fire. That is where real connection lives. That is where presence turns into anticipation. And that is where a high-value man stands apart because he doesn't force the future. He simply proves he belongs in it. All right, my friend, we've walked this path together, from the smallest signals to the deeper psychological shifts, and now it's time to bring it home. Here's the truth you need to carry with you. Don't turn this into a checklist. Don't sit there analyzing every move, every glance, every word. The moment you start measuring, you lose your power, you lose your presence. And presence, that's the real attraction. Understand this clearly. These signs don't happen because you perform some clever trick. They happen because of who you are in that moment. A woman opens up when she feels calm around you, when she feels safe, when she feels that you are steady, grounded, and not trying to prove anything. Be like still water. When you're calm, everything becomes visible. Her energy, her interest, her intention. You don't have to chase it. You don't have to force it. You simply notice it. Most men are out there chasing everything. Attention, validation, results. Don't be that man. Be the one who becomes, the one who is so comfortable in himself that he doesn't need to ask for approval. He feels it. He sees it. And most importantly, he remains unchanged. So here's my sincere advice to you. Next time you're with a woman, don't look for signs. Just be present. Be grounded. Be real. That alone will do more than any technique ever could. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these signs stood out to you the most? Drop it in the comments and share your experience. We grow stronger by learning from each other. If this spoke to you, go ahead and subscribe, join the journey, and stay close. We're building something deeper here, something real. Take care of yourself, stay steady, and I'll see you in the next one.